Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the New ND Nation Radio, brought to you by the NewNDNation.com. We're here to talk Notre Dame sports and but it. I am your host, Tim Daniel. We got quite a big show today, a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and welcome my co-host. First off, this is a man coming from home base in Old Indiana. This is Mr. Jason Cripe. Jason, how are we doing today?
We're doing real good. We're got a little cold rain here, and but other than that, all the snow from last week's melted off. So we're back to green ground here for a little bit.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. And coming to us from old Idaho, Mr. Stephen Herring. Steve, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys. How we doing? We're going to talk about the weather. I always do. It's gorgeous here in Boise today, about 60 degrees, and excited about the big show, so let's get going.
Absolutely. Well, we have a lot to talk about. We have some great guests today. And the plan is after about 10 minutes, we should be hearing from Kevin Dugan from Play Like a Champion. And then later on in the show, we'll also be hearing from Notre Dame's women's soccer coach and former national champion Randy Waldrum and former Notre Dame soccer player and soon-to-be professional soccer player Melissa Henderson. Got a lot to talk with them, Randy being a member of the USA 23 and under team staff, actually the head coach, that is. Whole lot more to talk. Let's get started with the big day in Notre Dame sports this weekend. Saturday, the men conquered the top team in the nation in college basketball. Notre Dame boys take over Syracuse. Syracuse comes to the Joyce Center. Don't walk out undefeated anymore. A big win for the Irish. A nice way to get some momentum behind the team. Jason, being around there, what was it like in South Bend this weekend?
It was absolutely electric after that game. I didn't get a chance to go. I watched it on television, but I was obviously really worried about that game. I think a lot of people going into that are thinking, well, let's hope it's not an embarrassment. And the guys came on strong. They took that early lead. The first 2.5 minutes, they jumped out to an 11-2 run and really just held on from there. They never really let Syracuse get back into it. So they did a really good job on the boards. They were plus 13 in rebounds, which is not normal for them. And doing that against Syracuse, Cooley probably had what I would call a career day. He played a hell of a game. So hats off to the guys. They did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, that game watching from home was just awesome to watch. And, the best way to get over a long home winning streak being snapped is to start a new one. And Notre Dame basketball definitely did it in style this past weekend. And, that's a great way to get the fans involved and really take advantage of the home court is they were really up almost the entire game, and they never let Syracuse really, truly make a true game of it till the very end when they got, I think, within 6. But Notre Dame just played lights out, and, I mean, that was a great day for Irish basketball, definitely.
What's really funny is when you read the tweets about the game and how a lot of people were saying, because it was that day that it came out, Fab Melo wasn't traveling with Syracuse, so, a lot of people went, oh, man, well, that means Notre Dame's going to win. But then there's a lot of people that said, well, Syracuse should still be too talented for Notre Dame. And just the way Notre Dame handled them, it was impressive everything they did in that game. And, like Steve said, wasn't even close till a few minutes ago in the game. They were up 6, but it's a huge win. I think it's a nice add to the old resume. So, Steve, if you guys had to guess, how close do you think? You think Notre Dame, does this seal them for the NCAA tournament, or do they need another couple more wins?
They're going to need some more wins. Right now, I'd say they're just off the bubble. They're real close. I think one thing, and a lot of people, I don't know if it's realized, but as impressive as the win at home is against Syracuse, the win on the road after that is actually very good too. They haven't played really well on the road, and they're coming together, and I think that shows that they're coming together as a team. The continuity's there. So for them to go out and then win on the road was definitely a good sign.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. The win over Seton Hall a couple days after, we talked a lot when we covered football about the hangover from a big win or a big loss, and they really came out, and that game was sloppy, to be quite honest about it. Nobody was hitting shots, nobody was scoring, and Notre Dame really gritted out a good road win in conference in New Jersey, and that was huge, and moves them to 5-3 in the conference. And they can't just sit on it. They can't lose out, and then they'll have no chance. But this is definitely a team that may be able to slip in, get a first-round bye in the Big East. And if you're even a little bit above 500 with beating Syracuse on your resume, that makes you a very appealing candidate when the NCAA tournament comes calling. So definitely they have a lot more work to do, and they've got the next 2 games against top 20 teams in America. But they're a team to be feared, and they're going to be a gritty team. We've been saying it on here, so watch out for Notre Dame.
Well, let's go ahead and talk. I mean, it is these 2 huge wins. They have 1 huge road game this weekend going to UConn. How big is it if Notre Dame goes in there and avenges that loss to UConn from when they were in South Bend a few weeks ago?
Well, I think it would be a huge win for them, especially on the road to beat UConn. I mean, they beat Syracuse. They've definitely got the goods and the result to go ahead and avenge that loss. I think they can definitely pull it off. It's just a matter of everybody, you got to limit the turnovers, and you got to do well in the paint and on the boards. And if they can continue to do that like they did against Syracuse, it's going to be tough for a lot of people to beat them. But they have to execute. They have to continue to do it and play solid. But if you get sloppy against UConn like you got sloppy against Seton Hall, you're not going to walk out of there with a W.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a massive win. Going into Connecticut is never a fun place to play, and if they can add that to the resume, I think that'd be 3 wins against top 20 teams in the last couple weeks here with the Louisville overtime win as well. So, that's you just got to build that resume up. And Notre Dame's sitting at 13-8. They just got to keep tacking on wins, and you hope they can pull out either number 19 UConn or number 18 Marquette. If they go 1-1 there, I think that's a huge victory for this team and its tournament chances.
Absolutely. I couldn't help but agree. So, guys, let's go ahead and talk the other side of Notre Dame basketball. The women's team had a big week. Let's go ahead and start with this week earlier, a couple of days ago. They had Tennessee coming to town. If you know women's basketball, you know how great Tennessee is. I don't have a lot of love for that university, but the little love I have, it goes to Pat Summitt. So much respect for her as a coach and the program that she's built over the years there. They've always been a great program. They come into South Bend, our women, led by Skylar Diggins, put work on them. 72-44, crushed them on the boards. The Irish women, who are number 2 in the nation, are now 20-1. Jason, it's amazing because it's just another win for the Irish. I know they are the runner-ups from last year, but to beat a team like Tennessee, no matter how you do it, is always a good win.
Oh, definitely. And by the way, someone, Kathy Angelo, who's in our chat room, she was actually courtside with Lynn Gilbert for that game, so it was definitely a thrill for them to be courtside and get to see that. But, to pull out a win against Tennessee is definitely awesome. And that score really is very – it's what they're doing this season, except for the game against Baylor. I've been at a couple three games this year, and every time it's a blowout. It's ridiculous. These girls go out and they steamroll anybody they play, and they definitely have the skills and have the players that can hang with any team in the country. I don't care who it is. I'm hoping that somehow, some way, get another way to match up against Baylor again and go in and give them their only loss. That would be huge for us.
Yeah, it was not a good week this past week for opposing teams wearing orange that came to South Bend, and what a great game. And I have all kinds of respect for Tennessee and Pat Summitt, but Notre Dame has got to give some credit. They are an elite women's basketball program. They have been for some time, and to go out there and do that to a number 10 team, I mean that's amazing. And just to put a hurting on them, I think that was the second worst loss they've had in either school history or Pat Summitt's history. And they pulled back the dogs, and Skylar Diggins is just one of the best players in America. And you've heard the joking going around that she's helping with the recruiting of the football players, and all these high school guys are watching her and raving about her and wanting to meet her on recruiting visits. And it's just a great representation of the athletic program at Notre Dame, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And they are a force. And if they get another chance with Baylor down the road, I mean, we're going to be rooting hard, and the whole school is obviously behind them. So great stuff from the women's team.
Absolutely. Guys, we got that there. We got a lot of basketball talk. Another big sport this week in Notre Dame. We saw the men's hockey team have a home series this weekend against Michigan at the Compton Family Ice Center. And then not only that, got on national television for this game, Friday Night Ice on the NBC Sports Network, where Friday night they looked great against Michigan. They won 3-1. It was a really good game, impressive goalie play. The next night wasn't so great. They unfortunately took the loss, but they still played a great game. Good 2 games for the Irish. A great hockey program like we all know. But, man, I got to talk about how great Sam Calabrese played Friday, Jason. It was unbelievable, him getting the ball on both sides of the ice. He got the goal. I believe he had an assist on another goal. I was very impressed by his play.
Yeah, Sam's playing great. He did have he had a goal and an assist in that game, and he's really started to pick it up and do really well. And there was earlier in the season there was some issue with the Irish when they were fortunate enough to have more numbers on the ice due to power plays. A lot of just too much passing. They were just passing the puck way too much, too many touches out there, and looks like that's gotten straightened out, and they're really getting in and taking advantage of those situations. And once they start doing that, they really score a lot more, and they're a threat to deal with. They're a great hockey team, and Coach Jackson has them in the right place, and they're going to continue to get better.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree that they're one of the elite programs as well in NCAA hockey, and it's definitely they didn't want to split against the rival Big Blue, but that's kind of the nature of the sport, is that you're not going to see those massive long winning streaks when Notre Dame is playing an elite schedule like this. But Calabrese and the goalie, they've been playing really well, and I think this team has got the sky's the limit, and they've got plenty of time with the rest of the schedule before the playoffs and before moving to the tournament starts. So they're going to be okay, and it's exciting to watch hockey in the facility. Every time I see it on TV, you're just blown away by it's just so impressive. So I can't wait to get out there and check out a game. And hockey is great fun for ND fans right now.
I actually don't know. Maybe you guys have seen. I haven't seen the polls since they came out. Are they still 7th right now?
I don't know. I haven't seen the rankings.
Yeah, I haven't seen the ranking. I get my Notre Dame hockey from the UND.com, and they don't have a rankings on there, just the record.
I'll have to check that out.
I believe they were number 7 on Friday. I believe that's what I saw, that they were ranked, and I doubt that they've gone any higher than moved. They probably haven't moved at all, actually.
Well, this weekend, I know Saturday and Sunday, Notre Dame hockey is in Fairbanks, Alaska. So if we have any ND Nation up in the Fairbanks, Alaska area, got to go check out this Irish hockey team playing the University of Alaska. Should be an interesting matchup. So if you're up there, go check this team out. It's worth seeing. Oh,
absolutely! It's a great time. When I was younger, I never really got into hockey, but then somebody talked me into going to a Notre Dame hockey game. I've been hooked ever since. So any chance I get to go and watch and getting the kids into it and everything else. So it's a great time.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you right there. Hockey, you just don't appreciate it until you see it in person for the first time. And I was lucky enough to work at Madison Square Garden and get to be right there at ice level for some of the Ranger games. And it's just a different atmosphere, and it's just a different sport than watching it on TV. So I don't live anywhere near Fairbanks, Alaska, but I encourage all of the Irish faithful anywhere near to get out and support the Irish.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we are waiting on a big show today. We have quite a few guests, and as you know, every week here on the new ND Nation Radio, we give you a awesome, spectacular trivia opportunity. Win a sweet prize from us here at the new ND Nation, and I have it on record right here in my chat room that one of my co-hosts, Mr. Jason Cripe, says tonight's trivia question is an awfully good one. So, Jason, I'm curious.
Okay, well, I'll put it out there for everyone. The question tonight is, you have to name all of the head football coaches in Notre Dame's history who also served as the athletic director at some point in time. All of the head football coaches at Notre Dame who also served as athletic director at some time.
That is a good one, actually. You've got me there.
I doubt there's any recent names on that list. I know a couple, but that's going to be a fun research one right there.
Yeah, there's nobody recent. I can definitely say that. There's nobody recently, but there are there are quite a few names. I won't say how many, but there are more than you would probably think. And then anybody who wants to get in the contest, just go ahead and send your guess or your answer to contact TNNDN@gmail.com. We're going to change it up a little bit. The last time we did it, we said the first correct email we got would win, but that kind of cuts out everybody else who listens to the archives. So I think what we'll do is you have from now until the air of the show next week to get your entry in. And from all the correct entries, we will randomly draw a winner from all the correct entries. So we'll make it fair for everybody, because this week's winner, last week's winner, actually, from the trivia question last week was, what was the name of the character in the Martin Scorsese film, The Departed, whose son attended law school at Notre Dame? Anthony Adams was the correct answer, and the answer was, and he went in detail, I didn't know the middle name, Captain Oliver Charles Queenan, who was the character whose son went to Notre Dame. So, Anthony, you won this week's prize. Go ahead and just send an email to contact TNNDN@gmail.com. I know you won before, and I just don't happen to have your postal information written down, but if you send that to us, we'll get your prize out as soon as we can.
We're all about giving here at the New Indy Nation. Seriously, play with us. We're going to help you out. We're going to give you some prizes if you contribute with us.
Yeah, and our guest, Kevin, I had a meeting with Kevin just for a few minutes yesterday. We kind of got out of whack, and he was somewhere else and I was somewhere else, but we had a chance to talk a little bit. And he's heading up it's called Play Like a Champion Uganda, and they're building sports fields out there, and they're promoting the Play Like a Champion curriculum. It's about teaching kids how to, really it's about teaching parents about how to be a good parent of a student athlete or an athlete at all, about things you can do to encourage them and what not to do to on the court side or wherever, to like some of these crazy parents do. They just get way out of hand, and it's ridiculous. But I had a chance to meet with him twice now, and I have to tell you, he's awe-inspiring. Once you hear him speak and learn about what they're doing, you're going to be blown away. And we're gonna help them out, and we're going to help promote the event that's coming up that we can't really talk about yet. But there's something huge coming up that's going to all come together at the Blue Gold game. So we're going to be involved with that. We're rounding up a whole bunch of autographed Notre Dame items, gift bags from different sports at Notre Dame. So we're going to have a lot of stuff. You'll be able to donate on the Notre Dame website and enter through that, and we'll be able to keep track of everybody who enters, and anybody who enters gets their name in the raffle, and there's going to be lots of prizes that you can be drawn for. So it's something to really get excited about. And going forward, we're gonna try to have a guest from Play Like a Champion Uganda on, maybe once a week for 10 minutes to keep everybody updated. So make sure you listen in, and we'll definitely try to get Kevin on for next week. I know he had a meeting with Jack Swarbrick. I don't know if it was this evening, if it ran over or what, but he was really excited about being a part of this and having us help him. So something to look forward to.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to hear that. It's an awesome thing that we're doing there with Play Like a Champion. I cannot wait till everyone hears the details, everything they can be involved in, how much of a difference they can make. That's something we really preach here on the show. When we had Mo Crum on, we talked a lot about his foundation. Just a lot of the same similar stuff, just trying to help people out there and represent the school in the right way. And I think that New Indy Nation is leaps and bounds doing that the best way they can.
Absolutely, it's what we were founded on. It's we love to help others out. Like we've mentioned before, this is all volunteer driven. We're not sponsored by anyone. No, it's all volunteer driven. Anything we do, it's all we take care of it all, and it's just giving back to not only the local community, but the country, and now with Uganda, into Africa, we're starting to reach out and try to help as many people as we can. And that's the spirit and the cause that Notre Dame was founded on, and that's something we take pride in. And the student athletes, obviously, they do a great job with community service and helping out causes and everything else. So it's really something to get excited about. And as we have more details, we'll make sure everybody knows about it. And we ask that you, once the details come out, spread the word. The power of social networks and word of mouth is what makes movements like these really grow and gain speed. So that's definitely something we're definitely looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm with the rest of the listeners on this one. I'm excited to hear what Kevin and the foundation are doing out there in Uganda, setting up hopefully football fields and some other stuff, and maybe get a nice firm Notre Dame recruiting base over in Africa. But it sounds like a great project, and I can't wait to hear what's going on. So I'm ready to go.
Cannot wait for that. We'll go ahead and I guess we'll go ahead and let everyone know about next week's episode too. We will be airing next week on Wednesday night. This is the conclusion. It is National Signing Day. It's the day the letters of intent go in for college football. So we can quit talking recruiting. If you don't want to hear it anymore, it commences next week. You can come with us for a special episode. We're going extra time. Going to have a few guests talk about recruiting, including former Notre Dame corner and current Atlanta Falcon Darren Walls is in the works. We're going to have him on there next week. Looking forward to that. Also confirmed for next week, if you want to hear about the story of the Notre Dame children's books known as The Dream of Echoes, we will be having some of the authors on from that. It's an awesome story. I know Jason and I have talked to you guys about it before on the show, where they bring up a lot of great things, tell the story of Notre Dame. A great way to tell the story of history and tradition to your kids, to the extra system, to the Notre Dame football program, and what they mean to people like you and me when we grew up and we heard everything about the program. So next week's show should be huge, and it's going to be a lot of good come in. We're going to break down all the recruits we can, break down our thoughts in this class, and it's worth checking out. So you got to come tune in. It was the same thing every week,
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a huge show. This will be our second 2-hour show. It's it takes some time to put it all together, and we're working on getting a press pass for signing day. It looks like we've got a pretty good shot at actually being there for Brian Kelly's press conference, and hopefully we can pull some audio from that from his session and really add a little different element to the show with adding some audio that we get from there. And also just so everybody knows, Steve is doing a heck of a job with a YouTube presentation of the show afterwards, with adding video and everything else. So that's a whole nother wrinkle to it. If you want to sit at your computer and watch the visual part of it, you can always do that too and watch the show that way. We'll have it up on our TNNDN video channel on YouTube. So that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, we discussed a couple of weeks ago about trying to get our radio show synced up on YouTube so we can maybe share some pictures and as well as hopefully video when we're over the radio show and kind of make it a little more interactive. So I've been working on that, and been playing around with it actually today. I was trying to get a little bit of the Women's National Championship clip downloaded, and I'll see how that comes out from 2010 with the coach and Melissa Henderson being on later. But I am beyond excited. National Signing Day is one of my favorite days of the year, and Brian Kelly and staff have really put together a great class so far, and under the assumption that all the current commits end up signing, and we really think there may be another surprise or something else that may happen in the next 5 or 6 days that really solidify this class. And it's such a fun day, and one of the best parts about sports is it's almost as if anticipation of winning is almost as much fun as winning, and there's no better day to anticipate the future of your favorite team and your favorite college when you're talking about signing day and you're watching the videos of the next class of Irish great players, and the next group of guys are going to be on our TVs on NBC and ESPN and all that fun stuff. So I cannot wait for the show. I can't wait to try and load up and hook up these videos of the players and their high school highlight films over us talking, and I hope it comes out great. I'm working hard, I promise, over here. So I'm excited. Signing Day is a great thing.
Well, Steve, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about your blog? I read a pretty good one on there this week where you went into your discussion on why you think there's another, as you said, rabbit in Brian Kelly's hat for this week.
Yeah, there was the first big rabbit that he pulled out of his hat with Gunnar Kiel, supposedly Baton Rouge bound, and now he's currently an Irish freshman taking classes, and he'll be competing for the ultra-illustrious Notre Dame starting quarterback job in a couple months down here. But, I'm not super insight. I don't have a lot of insight with the players and high school recruits, so I kind of broke it down on my site, looking over some of the top commits that were still considering Notre Dame and why I thought they might be a great fit or what they might be thinking. And, I think I'm with a lot of people that something's going to happen in the next 5 or 6 days that mirrors last year, where Brian Kelly and staff were able to pull a couple guys from the teeth of other programs, and guys like Aaron Lynch and Stephen Tua went from possibly playing for Notre Dame opponents to suiting up and playing a lot as freshmen. So there's some big-time recruits out there and guys that, because of the needs on offensive wide receiver and on defensive back, that if they come to Notre Dame, they're going to be competing for playing time right away, and that's worth being excited about. So I don't have any true predictions. I put down there that I would love to see Ronald Darby go back to his gut and then come back to Notre Dame, which was his initial choice. And I think that would be a huge get for the Irish, but there's some other players out there that recruit Knicks and Notre Dame fans should keep their eye on. And it'll be exciting to look back on the rest of the class because they're getting a little overlooked as guys that committed a long time ago, and they've been Notre Dame the whole way, and the hype has been less because they're not changing their mind. So I'll be excited to look at the Chris Browns and some of the other players in this class that are very elite athletes, and they're going to be playing for the blue and gold. So recruiting day it's like Christmas morning almost. So much fun.
Well, guys, I think we are joined by two of our guests here on the show. See if we got this right. Is this Mr. Waldrum and Melissa Henderson?
This is Randy.
Yes, can you hear me?
Welcome to the new Indian Nation Radio. How are you guys doing?
Great.
I'm doing
awesome.
good. How are you?
We're doing well. Thank you for joining us. We're very happy to have you both.
Thanks.
Not a problem. Well, let's go ahead and get into the interview here. Start with you, Coach Waldrum. You're currently now coaching the women's national team for the 23 and under. How's practice and how's training going for everything?
Well, it's kind of been a whirlwind. I just got the job, so to speak, in January, and we just completed our first camp in Sarasota, Florida. Just got back this week from it, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good week. It was a good chance for me to kind of see some of the players in the pool that we have that we're looking at. It was a mixture of some of the pro league players from the WPS, and then some of the kids that have just been drafted to the pro league, and then some of the college players, the stars that are still in college. So it was a good week, a good start, and we'll be taking this group to Spain on February 20th for a tournament there against England, France, and Sweden. So a lot to do in a short window of time.
Now, Coach, how was the process of you getting your name in the hat exactly? I know obviously you have a impressive resume, two-time NCAA champ from the 2004 and 2010 teams. What was it like when you got that phone call and they said that they wanted you to be representing the country?
Well, it's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I mean, I think any coach aspires to coach at the highest level, and that's one of the reasons I'm so happy at Notre Dame is because I get to work with top athletes, day in and day out, like Melissa and some of the others that we've had in our program over the years. But working with U.S. Soccer was something I've always wanted to do. Now, I've been on their coaching staff for probably 17 or 18 years now, doing a lot of instructing at the national coaching license, and then I've been in assisting some of the different age groups over the past 15 years or so, way back even when Tony DeChico was our head coach in 1999. I was in working, and just like anything else, every time there's a coaching change, the new people, bring in the staff they're comfortable with, and so it had been a few years since I was involved with it, but we just hired April Heinrichs, one of our former national team coaches, and Jill Ellis from UCLA, to kind of oversee the transformation of women's soccer in this country. And one of the things they've done is broaden the base of coaches that they've brought back into their pool to work with, and I was one of those. And so I was actually down with the U18 national team training with them, coaching them in Florida when April asked me to do this in early January. So really, really excited for the opportunity. Happy that they believe in me to get this group done, because this age group's really a critical age group. There's no World Cup for it. There's no real international games other than exhibitions, but it's the age group. It's kind of that feeder system to our full women's team. So it's a really, really important job, and I'm just looking forward to the challenge.
Excellent. That's an awesome thing to do. It's really cool to be able to represent the country, and what better guy than a Notre Dame guy to do it, right?
Well, I hope so. I hope everybody feels that way. I know I'm excited about it, and when you've got players like Melissa that's in that pool, and we've had Jess Schuweiler in that national pool before, and I brought in Sammy Schofield and Elizabeth Tucker to this camp in Florida, and probably will be looking to get maybe somebody like Jasmine Hall. I thought had a great chance, maybe get her an opportunity. So, it's nice, and then of course getting a chance to work with some of the kids that you compete with, on the opposition is nice to get to know them in a little bit of a different way as well.
I agree. Now, Coach, before I go ask Melissa a few questions and pass you guys on, I do have a few people in my chat room that did want to say hello to you. Kathy Angelo and Lynn Gilbert both wanted to send their love to you.
Well, my two favorite ladies, tell them hello from me, and thanks for all the support. I actually got a chance to run into them at the basketball game the other night, so that was really good to see them again. So definitely. And I tell you, one of the things they kind of got me involved with was this Play Like a Champion that you guys are really supporting there. And great calls, and they're doing wonderful things with that. And I would say encourage all the fans listening to get involved with that. That it's such a great cause, and to get involved with that program when you guys start pushing that, here in the near future.
Absolutely. We're very excited about it also. Well, Melissa, before we get into the interview, first I want to say congratulations on being the second pick in the draft.
Thank you.
Not a problem. And, well deserved, obviously. I mean, you have a lot of high rankings in your time at the university, top 15 in a lot of different categories. So, what was that moment like when you found out your name, you got drafted? What's the process like transferring to the pros now?
It's still kind of a shock to me, just the process and just being drafted, and actually realizing that, I'm starting to achieve my goals and live my dream, and I'm just so excited and blessed and just so thankful for the opportunity to do this. I think, it's going to be a lot of hard work from now until I can get there, and I'm excited for the challenge. And, I've been prepared because I've been coached by many great coaches, with my club coach being Kenny Medina, and then being able to play for Randy. I can't tell you the number of things he's taught me as a player and just as a person. So I'm just really excited to get there and get it started, and try to help out Sky Blue FC in any way that I can.
Now, obviously, you have, like I said, you have quite the resume. You are a Honda Sports Award recipient, first-team All-American, national champion. How do you you said it's kind of a shock to you, and you're still going through that process. How do you really transport that into going into a different scenario? What is it like? Obviously we know the transition is really popular in America from college football to pro football. Is there any way you can really compare and contrast the situation going into a sport like soccer, where granted football you play one side of the field, soccer you're running all over the place for 90 minutes. Do you have to get is it those thing where you have to get the cardio up a lot more and things like that?
I would say so. It's just the only reason, honestly, that I even received those awards or were up for it was because of the team around me. So, I feel like it's everybody on the field has to be working together, working for one another, for everything to come together. So, I individually didn't get any of those awards. Those were more team awards. But I'm hoping transitioning into the pro that I can just help my team and be part of that process in the team, and that just helps us achieve the goals that we want to do as a club, and just to just make sure that our team can come up on top throughout season.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I could ask you questions all day, but I got to go ahead and pass you on to my co-host, Steve. I know you had questions for both of you guys. Thank you both for taking the time to be on the show and talk with us, and I know Steve will have some good ones for you, too.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Coach Waldrum and Steve Herring here. I wanted to go ahead and the first question I want to talk to you about, we talk a lot on this show about football recruiting, but much like Brian Kelly, Notre Dame's roster features players from California, Texas, Kentucky, New York. You recruit coast to coast. So tell us a little bit what it's like as the head coach of Notre Dame women's soccer, and what you have to sell and what you talk about when you're recruiting around the nation to come to South Bend.
No, great question. And we do. I think the last I looked, our roster was made up of probably kids from 17 or 18 different states, so and a few different countries. So It's a little different because we don't have a recruiting calendar, like basketball or football has, and so our recruiting is really ongoing pretty much year-round right now, and so it's you're on the road a lot and a lot of travel. It's a big country. The difficulty of really identifying players around the country is hard just because of the sheer size. But, I think the thing that we've got to really sell is, first and foremost, it's a great university, as you guys know, and, the academics and how we can set up a young student-athlete for the rest of their life getting a degree from Notre Dame is that part of it's a really easy sell. And I think the thing that I found is the university itself, because of its reputation and the standard, it gets you in the door, and now you just got to sell them on your program and what you hope you can do for their development with that phase of their life. But the academics and the university is really, really a great selling point, on its own. And so that's what we try to do. I think it's for that student athlete that's special, that really wants to achieve something on a different level, and that's committed to the academic, world and committed to being the best they can, athletically. And then there's only a few schools, as I look at it, in the country that can compete with that, because it's, the Ivies certainly have the great academics, but they don't really have great athletics. And, when you look at state schools around the country, although they may have a big football name like an Alabama, who just won the national championship in football, well, they don't really have the academics to back it up at the same level that we have. And I think you look at us, Stanford, Duke, maybe a Vanderbilt, maybe a Northwestern, you pretty much tapped on to the schools that have great academics and have good athletic programs. And fortunately for us, our soccer program has been better than those programs over the years. And so it's kind of one more of those ace in the holes that we can sell. But it's not I don't want to say it's not a difficult sell, because the competition is fierce for the top players. But we've got a great product, so that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's one thing that we definitely see at all levels is Notre Dame is there's nothing you won't get when you go to Notre Dame for the athletics or the academics, and that's great to hear. Next question, I'll go back over to Melissa. I noticed that you have quite a few. You're up there in the rankings for a lot of Notre Dame record books for scoring and different categories. But you've also been nominated twice for an ESPY, the ESPN Awards show. Have you had a chance to go to the ESPY Awards for either of your nominations?
I actually was able to go last summer, so I got to experience that, and it was surreal.
So anybody you meet that you had been dying to, any athletes or any celebrities or any good stories when you were down there?
I've been dying to meet the Mavericks because being from Dallas, I'm a huge Mavericks fan, and them winning was pretty huge. So I would say that was one of the most exciting things that I got to do was I got to meet one of them at I think it was like Venus Williams, one of her pre-parties or something. It was crazy because I never should have been there with all those athletes. But it was just so awesome to be able to meet these people and just hear their stories and really just talk to them and get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard multiple times it's such a special event. You don't get to see that many elite athletes in one place very often in America. So that's such a great honor. And I'll jump back to that recruiting question. You mentioned you're out of Texas. Tell me what it was like when you were a high school junior and senior, and Coach Waldrum was calling you up and trying to convince you to come to South Bend. What went through your mind as you made the decision to become the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
I think I want to say I committed my sophomore year of high school. I just knew, after meeting Coach Waldrum and speaking to him and visiting the campus, me and Jessica Schuweller visited, and we both left, and we were just flabbergasted by how amazing it was, and just the overall atmosphere and how beautiful and just everything it had to offer with the amazing coaching staff, the great team that's year in and year out amazing and does well for themselves. And then you have the academics, which are something that you obviously will always need in your life. Soccer can only last a certain amount of time. So having that academic background and a degree from Notre Dame can go so many ways. So it was just so many things that were overwhelming, and I knew, I prayed about it many times, and the faith-based atmosphere here also is just great, and just the people, and it's just such a happy place to be around. So I think just everything you could ever imagine just pointed straight to Notre Dame. So I'm just honored that Randy thought good enough of me to even attend Notre Dame and, like, offer me. So I don't know. It's been probably the best experience of my life. So I'm very happy that I decided to come here.
Well, it's great to hear that, and it seems that all the former players that we've had a chance to talk to echo that sentiment. They knew they made the right choice, and we wish you the best of luck in New Jersey and with the future career, and we know you're going to be a great representation of the school. I'm going to go ahead and pass you guys on to the third co-host, Jason. Probably has a couple more great questions for you, but it was great to talk to you, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Coach, Melissa, Jason from the New ND Nation here. Just wanted to jump in and didn't really have any questions for you. Let the real sports guys handle that, but I just wanted to let you know that we truly appreciate everything you've done for us, and this Play Like a Champion Uganda thing we're working on is going to be huge, and I just wanted to let everybody know that you two are probably the pair of most humble people I've ever had the chance to talk to, and it's you really represent the University of Notre Dame in such a positive light, and everybody really respects you for that. So I just wanted to come on and say hello and thank you for your time, and we really appreciate everything you do.
Jason, thank you. Listen, too, I think I do, and I would again put a plug for the Play Like a Champion, because I think it's an amazing organization, what they're doing, and all the fans will hear about the school in Uganda that you guys are trying to help build and take care of. And so that part is second to none. I do have a little bit of a beef to take out on Melissa, since I've got her on live radio in front of everybody.
Oh, no.
She talks so much about the great experience that she had at the ESPYs and all that. She didn't bring me back one picture of her with any star, anybody, nothing. I couldn't even get a party, a party prize or anything back from the ESPYs. So I'm just saying,
well,
Melissa.
technically, Coach, I wasn't allowed to accept any party prizes, so I didn't have anything for you.
Well, that's good. See, there you go. Compliance all the time. I appreciate that.
Always.
But, no, thank you, Jason, for having us. You guys have been great and do a great job for all the Irish fans.
And
thank you all so much.
We really appreciate hearing that, and we're going to keep doing the things we do, and obviously on behalf of everybody from the New ND Nation, Lynn, Kathy, myself, Tim, Steve, everybody, we just it's an honor to have you here, and this radio format for us is our 14th show, and we've been blessed to have many former players on and some really great guests on the national level. So for you to join us is huge, and again, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys, very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you so much. Bye, Coach. Thank y'all.
All righty.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk to y'all soon. All right, guys, that was Coach Wendy Waldrum and Melissa Henderson. We got to say that might have been one of my favorite interviews we've ever had here on the show. I really enjoyed talking to both of them guys, and really appreciated taking the time to talk about soccer. Steve, I thought you had some great questions as far as recruiting, getting that knowledge, and kind of talking to Melissa about our time at the ESPYs. I asked that, but you covered it for me. Jason, I know you kind of took a step back. You listened to your review. You've known these two very well from your time working with the ND Nation. What were your thoughts on the interview?
Oh, well, this is one of these interviews that doesn't surprise me in the least. With obviously I've met Coach Waldrum quite a few times. He was kind enough to take time out of his day last summer to give us a tour of the soccer facility, which, by the way, is a great place to watch a game if you ever get the chance. Anybody out there, go to a Notre Dame women's or men's hockey game or a soccer game. Go to a soccer game, go to a hockey game, go to a lacrosse game. Anything you go to, it's great. And they've been so great. And Randy he's one of the most unassuming men I've ever met in my life. True gentleman. Melissa is again another example of the student athlete at Notre Dame. As obviously you all well know, we've talked to many, and it's always the same experience. So it's always a great time talking to them. And Randy is really I have a lot of respect for Coach Waldrum. He's a class act, and I can tell you firsthand that's coming from the heart. That's a guy that deserves respect and doesn't deserve it. He earns it, and he's a great guy, and he's a great coach. So again, it's always great to have it, and this is a personal favorite for me. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, when I found out we were having them on, and I pulled up both of their resumes on UND.com, and I mean, we may not have had any guests before with as accomplished of a resume in their sport than the two we just did. Waldrum's been coaching forever. He's got 2 national titles under his belt. He's driven Notre Dame soccer, the national champion. I think he said 5 national championship games. They're in the NCAA College Cup every year. And then you look over Melissa, she even came off injury in her last year and moving into the top 15 in goals and goals per match. And she has the NCAA championship record for goals and points in a single game. It was 4 and 8, and I was just blown away by the numbers that these two put up. And how there's just a great representation, and it's just a kind of a trend with the guests we have on, especially the alumni. It's just they're so grateful for their time in South Bend and playing for the Irish and being a part of the program. And it makes you feel good when you talk to people like that. So it's great having them on, and I hope we have them on again soon and we hear more great things out of them.
I can't help but agree. They were great guests. Steve, I think you made a great point. Is we may not have had anyone that accomplished as much in their sport as we did with the two we just had on, so it was a true honor to talk to them. One of the big things we're trying to do here on the show, I know we have a lot of guests in the football program. Obviously, when it comes to Notre Dame, you're going to have that. But, we say it every week, and like Jason said, go see these other sports in Notre Dame. Go to a hockey game. Go to a soccer game. In a few weeks, the baseball season starts up for Notre Dame. I mean, there's more to Notre Dame than football, and you're seeing that with programs like our basketball programs and our soccer programs and our hockey program. Notre Dame athletics, they're really making their turn to be, already I've thought of as an elite, but when that football team starts winning games every week, I don't know if you can tell me an athletic program that's going to be better than Notre Dame.
No, and it's it's something we don't just follow football. We follow the women's basketball. We follow everything in Notre Dame. Our motto is from the classroom to the playing field. We are all about Notre Dame as a whole, as a university, as a community, as a family, and it's great to a lot. It's really interesting because Skylar Diggins follows us on Twitter, and she could never pay attention to anything we say, anything like that. But Skylar will, if we say something that she finds interesting, or she'll retweet it to 140,000 people, and that helps get our name out there. And these other sports are, they're very important in Notre Dame. Notre Dame treats all their sports the same. They don't focus on football specifically. I mean, obviously, football is the money program. And the coaching staffs and the players of these other sports who don't get the attention, they love it when people show up and people talk to them, and we talk to them, and we get involved. And women's softball, Lynn and Kathy were on campus this weekend, and they got to talk to some coaches and some other people, and people just all they had to do was say the name, the New Indy Nation, and they go, really? Oh yeah, we know you guys. Everybody loves you, So it makes a difference when you're positive, when you send out a good message, and when you support the university as a whole. People respect that. So always try to show love to the whole program and be a fan of Notre Dame, not a fan of Notre Dame football specifically. It makes a difference for the other student athletes at the school.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts, becoming part of the show, is getting a chance to learn a little bit more about the rest of the programs and, kind of make a point of paying attention to the hockey team and the basketball team. And this is my first experience looking up with the soccer team. And, I mean, it's just that is Notre Dame. They are elite athletically on the women's side in almost everything they do. And it's a great chance for us to showcase them on the show and the people that are the names and the faces behind that program. And I'm just kind of in awe that I talked to a coach that's going to be coaching the women who will be playing in the World Cup in 4 years. I mean, the girls he's coaching, that's the highest level of the National Youth Soccer League, or youth soccer team. Coach Waldrum will be coaching players who we will watch on ESPN 4 years from now, competing for the Women's World Cup, and that's very cool to me. And I'm hoping that Melissa's one of those players and down the road, and I just can't wait to be able to look at it and say, I talked to her on New NDN Nation Radio, and it's a special thing to be a part of, and really appreciative of being here and talking to these type of Irish alumni and folks.
Can't help but agree. Well, guys, we got about 10 minutes to go on the show. Wow, I realized we're moving so fast. It wouldn't be a Notre Dame show unless we talked a little bit of football at least. We already talked about our signing day next week, but, it's not a Notre Dame football program, but there aren't some rumors. This rumor I actually just heard of myself in our chat room from our good friend Kathy. Word on the street is one of the people considered for the Rutgers coaching position, now that Graciano has left for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is defensive coordinator Bob Diaco. Now, Jason? Huh?
Yeah. I saw that rumor with Bob Diaco. It can't be true. We can't lose the Diaco. He's the defense he's producing and the recruiting that he does is so vital to the program. And obviously, if it's a chance at a head coaching job, I don't know if he'd pass it up or not. But it'd be a terrible loss for us. But Brian Kelly likes to promote from within, and I'm sure if that did happen, there would be somebody ready to step up and continue the progress that's been made.
Well, I've seen many comparisons of Diaco to Donald Draper from Mad Men, and that would be a step closer to him being right on the outskirts of New York City, being at Rutgers. But if I was going to be honest about it, I think a lot of the top coordinators out there are going to be considered for that job, and we're hearing about Diaco, and I'm sure there's a couple other big schools out there that have heard a similar story with their recruiting coordinator. I found the timing of Schiano leaving to be a little odd. I think that for Rutgers, I think it'd be really tough for them to bring in a head coach with 6 days ago until signing day. I think there's a better chance that they promote from within on their own end in the way that Ohio State did last year and other programs do before, and maybe do their coaching search after next season. I don't have any inside information again on this, but that would be my guess. But losing Diaco would be really tough. He's done a great job with the defense, which is this past season was one of the best in the past decade. And on the recruiting trail, families love him and players love him, and he's really improved the talent level on that side of the ball. So until it's a little more substantiated out of him actually being somewhere for an interview and him missing a recruiting visit the next couple of days, I want to pretend that that's not going to happen.
Absolutely, man. I don't think it's a rough loss to take, but I think that's kind of going with Kelly as next man in for the team itself. Kind of seen that lately with the coaching staff. One in particular is we do now have a new coach in the secondary, a new safeties coach from Iowa State. Jason, do you have any information on this new coach? I'd be honest with you, I looked at all my notes right before the show. Already forgot his name.
I have to be honest, I don't. I've had a crazy couple of weeks at work and I've been really slammed, so I haven't had a chance to really have my nose in it like I'd like to normally. But no, I actually don't. I am regretfully substandard on my coaching information right now. But I'm sure Steve knows.
I know it's Coach Elliott. I believe it's Coach Bob Elliott, formerly of Iowa State. And he also has had a couple other coaching stops, including Iowa. One of the interesting things on his background, I believe, is that he actually got cancer in the late 90s when he was being considered for multiple head coaching jobs, and he's overcome that, and he's had a very successful career. And I believe he coached, when he was a coach, Diaco and Terry Cooks when they were in Iowa when they were at Iowa. So he's got a little bit of a link into the class or into the program, and he just seems like, from what I hear, he's supposed to be a great recruiter. He's a guy that's great talking to families and high school players, and he was part of the DB staff that took down Oklahoma State last season. So DB was definitely a little bit of an area of concern in the past season for the Irish, and maybe some fresh blood there with a very experienced coach would be very helpful next year.
And one good thing about that, speaking of safeties, Elliott's going to continue to put more guys out there like the one right now that you're hearing a lot of rave reviews from the Senior Bowl. That's Harrison Smith. Don't know if you guys have seen as much as I have been keeping up with it in my spare time, but Harrison's doing really well at practice. He's getting a lot of recognition. And if you remember, Mayock actually went as far as saying you might see Smith get taken in the late second round this year. It's looking believable. I'm really impressed with the way he's playing with some of the best players in the nation, representing Notre Dame at the Senior Bowl. I'm really happy to see Harrison doing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Harrison's one of those guys that brings those intangibles to the table that you don't necessarily get with other guys. He's a leader, and he has that leader's mentality, and people pick up on that. And that's very important at any level of sports, is to have that guy or those guys in the locker room who, they're the first voice you hear in the locker room, and they're the first voice you hear at halftime, or whatever the situation is. And that's one of the things that makes him special. And he's a heck of an athlete too. And his game has really picked up over the course of his career at Notre Dame, and he should be getting recognition. I think Mayock could be very right. He may very well go in the second round, and obviously that'd be great to see him land somewhere that can where he'll have a chance to get in the mix within a couple of years and see him out on that field doing some good stuff. That'd be great.
Yeah, one of the things I heard from the Senior Bowl reports that should surprise nobody that follows Notre Dame football is that Harrison Smith is really making a name for himself at the bowl game on special teams, which that can be a problem sometimes with guys that have been the top-rated defensive backs or even different positional players that are moving on to the NFL, is they're not used to playing special teams, and they kind of think it's beneath them. And we all know that Harrison Smith, with those intangibles and that type of guy, he's going to go out there, he's going to attack that, and that can really move you up in the draft and make you more valuable to an NFL team. And you look back just a couple years, Sergio Brown, who's playing in the Super Bowl this next week for the New England Patriots, he made his name at Notre Dame on special teams before he moved into the lineup, and then he made his name in the NFL on special teams, and now he's a nickelback, and he's an important part of a team that might win the Super Bowl. So looking at Harrison Smith, that's going to be huge for him, his continued success there, and that may bump him up in the draft, get him in that second round, and he may be a contributor right away. So that's just a representation of him and a representation of the program, that he came there to play and he came there to work. And I think that he could do great things. He's got that athletic ability. So it's exciting to watch. I hope he goes in that second round. It'll be cool.
Yeah, maybe in the first. I mean, it wouldn't hurt anybody's things around here. He's a great guy for him. I'm very happy to see that for them. The huge thing for Notre Dame also, like we said, with recruiting. But, guys, we're down to the last 2 minutes of the show. And I got to say, this might have been the most fun episode I've had in a long time. I really had a good time with you guys today.
Yeah, awesome show. It's obviously, it's always great to talk with you guys, and then to talk with, Coach Waldrum and Melissa Henderson is a great thing. So we'll keep rolling. I've got some interview requests in with Brian Harden and with Chris Masters, respectively, from Notre Dame's men's football. Or Notre Dame football, with always men's, and then from Notre Dame women's basketball, trying to possibly get Skylar Diggins on the show. She's indicated on Twitter that she'd be willing. So if we can get it cleared through the SID department, then we'll definitely have her on the show, and we'll keep trying to get great guests for everybody to listen to every week.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you hear about doing radio, is that your show is definitely going to be better when you have great guests on, and both our guests today were awesome. I mean, just the respect for the things they've done for the school and in their careers, and they were just awesome to have on. They were very lighthearted and open, and a good story about the ESPYs and telling about coaching the national team. And excited to have them on. Like we mentioned earlier, tonight is going to hopefully be the first trial run with getting this episode up on YouTube, so more people can have access to it. So, a great show. I had a great time.
I did too. Well, guys, don't forget, next Wednesday we'll be on air, not Thursday, Wednesday, 2 hours, same time, 7 o'clock, National Signing Day. We're going to give you all the info we know. So bring some caffeine. We might be talking a lot. But we're going to make it fun for you. We're going to have trivia. We're going to talk with everybody. Be in the chat room. Give us your thoughts on everything we say. We know we love and appreciate everyone that comes on the show. A lot of great guests. Stay posted through Twitter at TNNDN. You'll see all the info on the shows posted there. You can follow the three of us. I am at Irish Unmatched. Jason is the Rabid Irish fan. And Steve is HB_sports. Did I say that right, Steve?
That's correct.
All right, I always get it wrong, so I just want to make sure. We're on there. We love talking to you. You guys can tell us what you think of the show. So remember, next Wednesday, here on the New ND Nation Network, we will be talking signing day. So, guys, you know how we end this show, and we got to do it like we always do.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.